dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle. No script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more than talk, this is thought that counts. Welcome to the feed where the signal mounts.
Welcome to the deep dive. So you, the learner, sent us a really interesting source this time.
Yeah, it's a transcript from OTW Live on YouTube, a panel called Creatures, Myths, and Visitors. What if they're all real?
Exactly. And our job basically is to dive into this, well, pretty lively chat they had.
Pull out the main ideas about Bigfoot, UFOs, all that strange stuff.
Give you the core insights without you having to, sit through the whole potentially chaotic thing.
Right. It's definitely not a lecture. We're just exploring this unscripted talk together, finding the key bits.
Okay, so where do they start? Looks like Bigfoot right off the bat.
Yeah, apparently one of the panelists had watched a documentary and that kind of kicked things off.
Ah, okay. And this documentary, it sounds pretty specific.
It does. It followed this guy spending 3 days totally alone in the Blue Mountains in Oregon.
Oregon? Wait, isn't that where the Paul Freeman footage, the 1994 Bigfoot film, supposedly happened?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're immediately connecting it to this, classic piece of Bigfoot lore.
Interesting. So he's in a known hot spot. What was he actually doing out there? Just hoping.
Well, kind of, but also using specific tactics people talk about. Staying really still, doing tree knocks.
Tree knocks, like banging on trees.
Yeah, some people believe that's, a way Bigfoot communicates, if they exist, of course.
Right, if. And what happened with the filmmaker? Did he see anything?
It doesn't explicitly say he saw something, but the transcript mentions how his feelings changed.
Oh, how so?
Apparently, he went in pretty skeptical, but started feeling really uneasy, even scared, especially at night, alone out there.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it just the woods at night or something else?
Exactly. And then there was this guest, Ezra, who joined the panel.
Okay. And what did Ezra add?
Well, they tried to share a story about a Sasquatch encounter they apparently had.
Tried?
Yeah, typical live stuff, technical problems kind of cut them off. But they did mention hearing these weird sounds. Sierra Nevada sounds.
Sierra Nevada sounds. What do they sound like?
Described as being like Russian gibberish, which is pretty strange, raises questions about vocalizations, if nothing else.
Definitely weird. Did they talk about why people might see Bigfoot? Or if they see them?
One idea floated was that maybe you're more likely to see a young Bigfoot.
A young one? Why?
Just inexperience, maybe. Like young animals are sometimes less cautious, easier to spot than the older, wiser ones. They compared it to antelope or ground birds.
Okay, that makes a certain kind of sense, actually. But did everyone on the panel even believe in Bigfoot?
Oh, not at all. It sounds like it was a real mix. Some were, totally open to it. Others were like, no way.
Yeah.
Very skeptical.
So classic panel debate then.
Pretty much. They touched on evidence, too. Footprints came up, naturally. Dr. Jeff Meldrum's name was mentioned.
Right.
He does a lot of footprint analysis.
Right, I know the name.
But it was also pointed out that in the specific spot this documentary guy visited, there weren't other signs people often look for, like big broken trees or branches.
So conflicting signals even within the Bigfoot community's own supposed evidence types.
Exactly. And the ideas about Bigfoot's intelligence and behavior, they were really all over the map.
How so? Give me an example.
Well, some suggested they're incredibly smart, masters of hiding. Someone mentioned, militaristic daytime sleeping patterns with lookouts posted.
Wow. Okay. That's specific.
Yeah. And then there was even weirder stuff like the idea that people doing remote viewing, trying to see things with their mind, run into some kind of mental barrier around Bigfoot areas.
Okay. Now we're getting into some pretty out there territory.
Definitely. But what I found really important was when they brought in indigenous perspectives.
Ah, yes. What do they say about that?
They mentioned the Stalis people, their word Sasquatch. For them, it's not myth. It's a real powerful being, part of their culture way before Europeans showed up.
Right. Not just a monster story, but something integral.
Exactly. And they mention other groups too, like the Lummi people Sequest traditions, the Kwakwakiwak and Bakwas. It just shows how deep these beliefs run and for how long.
That context is crucial, I think. It grounds the discussion a bit more.
It does, though it sounds like the panel didn't always stay grounded.
Oh, what else happened?
Well, there were tangents. Someone joked about a Caucasian Sasquatch, whatever that means.
Okay.
And then some, let's call it playful banter about humans and Sasquatch mating. They even brought up Neanderthals and early humans interbreeding as, like, a comparison.
Right. Okay, so definitely an unscripted, freewheeling kind of conversation.
You got it. And then, almost like flipping a switch, the topic shifts. Suddenly, it's all about UFOs and government cover-ups.
Ah, the other big mystery category. How did that part feel in the transcript?
Very rapid fire, almost like a stream of consciousness, you know? Lots of ideas thrown out quickly.
Like what? What kind of ideas?
Well, Project Blue Book came up, the old Air Force UFO study.
Yeah, the classic example people point to for government secrecy or maybe debunking efforts.
Exactly. But then it went further in speculation that maybe the UFO info we're getting now, the leaks and stuff.
Yeah. What about them?
That maybe that's part of a bigger manipulation. Someone even alluded to Project Bluebeam.
Bluebeam. That's the really out there conspiracy theory about faking an alien invasion or something.
That's the one. It's widely debunked, yeah. But the idea that current events could be manipulation, that seemed to be the core theme.
So themes of like gaslighting the public, shifting stories.
And this deep suspicion about official narratives. Lots of skepticism about whether leaked footage is real, talk of false flags, but, you know, with a UFO twist.
A feeling that maybe we're being played somehow.
Pretty much. The overall message seemed to be question everything, don't trust the official story. Someone actually said something like, ain't no savior dropping from the sky.
Wow. So a very critical, maybe even cynical take on the whole UFO disclosure narrative.
Definitely. And it wasn't just UFOs. They briefly touched on other weird stuff too, like reality shifts.
Oh, like the Mandela effect.
Exactly. That came up along with weird brand name changes people remember differently, like Kit Kat or Pikachu's tail.
Right, those internet arguments.
Yeah. It all sort of fed into this larger feeling of uncertainty, like maybe reality itself isn't quite stable, or we're being fed lies, a profound questioning of what's real.
Okay, so from Bigfoot in the woods to UFOs in the sky, and then reality itself feeling shaky.
Yeah.
Where do they go next?
Down to earth, in a way, but maybe into an even more unsettling topic for some, artificial intelligence, AI and transhumanism.
Ah, the future is here, and it's scary.
That was definitely the vibe. A lot of anxiety about what AI and automation mean for us, for being human.
What were the specific worries? Jobs?
That was a big one, yeah. Fear of bots and drones taking over jobs. But also a deeper concern about human creativity. Like, will AI-generated stuff devalue actual human art, writing, music? Can an AI really understand what it's like to be hungry or lose someone or truly create something new? There was a lot of skepticism about that.
The spark of humanity kind of argument.
Exactly. And then the more concrete dangers, like deep fakes.
Oh, yeah, huge concern now.
Right. Manipulating history, messing with people's legacies. One panelist had this really stark line about people tweeting their extinction for clicks and rent.
Oof, that's bleak. Like, we're so caught up in the now we're missing the big picture of where this tech might lead.
That seemed to be the point, but there was also defiance. Someone strongly said they refuse to be a puppet on a string, even if the future ends up run by Silicon Kings.
So a call to retain human agency, autonomy.
I think so. And they circled back at the end of that bit, reminding everyone that AI, well, it comes from us.
How do they put it?
We the chaos, we the muse. Which is quite poetic, actually. The idea that all its power, all its data originates from human input, human messiness, for now anyway.
That's a powerful thought. So we've covered Bigfoot, UFOs, AI, but what about the panel itself? You mentioned it was chaotic.
Oh, yeah. The transcript makes that pretty clear. It wasn't a smooth ride.
How so?
Lots of people popping in and out, technical glitches, arguments breaking out between panelists. Definitely not a tightly moderated show.
Sounds like a typical live stream, maybe.
Could be. You definitely get that unpredictable energy. They mentioned some handles like Powder Dusty, Crucible Ghost. Sounds like there were some strong personalities.
And arguments.
About what? The transcript mentions some pretty heated exchanges, especially around, well, insults, the word retard was apparently used, which caused conflict.
Yikes. Okay, so not always constructive dialogue.
It seems not always, but there were also attempts at humor, apologies were made, though the transcript kind of questions how sincere they all were. It just felt very raw and unstructured.
Did the audience interact much?
Yeah, that came through too. People in the chat making donations. Apparently, that even influenced things like panelists changing their screen names during the show.
So very interactive, very live.
Absolutely. And it just shows you the huge range of opinions people have on these topics and how passionately they express them, sometimes maybe too passionately.
Right. It gives you a real glimpse, warts and all, into how these conversations happen online.
Exactly. The value and maybe the limits of that kind of unfiltered discussion.
Okay, so let's pull back. We've gone through this deep dive of the OTW live panel transcript. What are the main things for you, the learner, to take away?
Well, first, this ongoing fascination with Bigfoot, it's not going away. And people interpret the, let's call it, potential evidence in really different ways.
Definitely. Then there's the UFO side, a really strong current of skepticism about official stories and this worry about, hidden agendas or manipulation.
Mm-hmm. And finally, these very real, very current anxieties about AI, what it means for jobs, for creativity, for just being human.
So this panel, raw as it was, kind of tapped into some big, enduring mysteries and some very modern fears.
Yeah, it's a snapshot of people grappling with the unexplained and the rapidly changing.
It certainly wasn't neat or tidy, but like you said, it raised a lot of questions. It really highlights that human urge to figure things out, to look beyond the everyday.
Which brings us back to that original title, doesn't it? What if they're all real?
Right.
If you think about all the stories, the folklore, the accounts, the questions that just won't go away, what is it about these ideas, Bigfoot, aliens, powerful AI, that keeps pulling us in?
What need are they meeting, maybe? Is it just wanting mystery? Or is it a way to express distrust for authority? Or is it something deeper about our place, in the cosmos?
Yeah, what's really going on beneath the surface of these beliefs? That's something to chew on.
Absolutely. Something for you to think about as you maybe explore more. Perhaps check out the original video or look into those indigenous stories we mentioned. Keep questioning, keep exploring.
Thanks for sharing the source, and thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
One spark, from the shadows to the bright, let's light the dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle, no script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the